it's basically going to be what you guys need to make sure you know about before you do your clutch installation. I kind of went into it blind. I know there's a couple of videos on YouTube, but none of them really show like detail for some stuff that you have to do, and sometimes it's a lot more than you expected. That's what happened. I did mine, so I'm gonna show you guys and make sure you guys know a couple of things that you're gonna have to move and when you're doing your clutch install. Also a couple of pointers for things that you don't want to mess up. So as you can see right now, my engine's actually in my garage. I'm actually painting my valve covers right now. I did drop the subframe and do my clutch, but I had a problem with it because one of the throttle bearing that I had that was OEM was defective, so it had a problem snapping into the pressure plate. So I didn't want to drop the subframe again. So what I ended up doing was just pulling the motor, and that definitely made it a lot easier. Pulling the motor is more work. It is faster though. I pulled the motor in like 4 hours. When I dropped the subframe, that took me days. The reason why it took me days was because I tried to do it the easy way. When you do your clutch, don't try to do it the easy way. The easy way is the hard way. The easy way is the hard way. The regular way is a way that it should be done. And that's one big thing that I really learned from this whole process. Don't try to do it the easy way. Do it the correct way. So, like I said before, I tried to drop the subframe, and I did drop the subframe. Thing is, when you drop the subframe, there's a lot of things you have to support. So I had this mount up here, and that was still supporting the right side of the engine. So I really only had to support half of the engine. The thing is, that makes it really hard to line up, and it's a lot of suspension work, a lot. The subframe is really not that hard to drop. It's just that you need a lot of things supporting it. I would say if you're gonna do your clutch install, have 3 jacks. At least have 3 jacks. 1 jack to hold the engine, and then 2 to hold the subframe as you drop it, because you don't want the thing to just slam on the ground. Another thing, you have to disconnect the steering gear where it goes to your steering wheel from the rack and pinion. That's one thing I didn't know about that I had to do. Make sure you mark it before you disconnect it. If you don't know what I'm talking about this part right here. That part up there where it goes to the steering, up into the firewall. Let me actually show you guys inside the car. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff removed right now. So, but yeah, you see that piece of the steering gear, you gotta disconnect that from the steering wheel. So steering wheel is gonna be like loose. It's locked right now because the car is off and everything, but yeah, so you're gonna need to disconnect that. What else? There was one thing. Aside from disconnecting that, you need to disconnect your brake hoses and your ABS brake sensors, because the line is not going to go that long. If you leave them on, you're going to break it when the subframe drops. So yeah, 3 jacks. Definitely have 3 jacks. Like I said before, 2 to support the subframe, 1 to support the engine. When the easiest part of the whole thing is actually putting the clutch on. All that stuff is easy. Torque to spec, it's like 55 foot-pounds, and like I believe it's like 19 for the I can't remember the torque specs right now. You can search it up. But yeah, that's the easy part. Lining it up is really what messed mine up. Be careful when you're lining it up, because you don't want to crack the oil pan. It's right there, and if it's not flush, you're gonna crack something. That's what happened to me. I had trouble lining it up, and yeah. So make sure everything is flush before you start tightening the bolts down, and you should be good to go. Let me see. Aside from that, nothing else should be really in the way. But I didn't think I was gonna have to drop the subframe, so I wanted to make that really clear. There probably is a way to get the clutch out without dropping the subframe. That's gonna be the hardest way. That's gonna take you all day. That's why it took me like 2 days, almost 3, because I was trying to do it the easy way. If I did it the regular way, I probably would have been done in like 2 days tops. and then I started running around trying to replace some other parts. So I ended up finishing it in like 5 days because I was replacing a lot of other stuff. I did my rack and pinion. But yeah, make sure you mark the steering gear before you disconnect it from the steering wheel. That's a big thing, or else your car's probably never gonna drive straight again. So make sure you disconnect that. And your mounts you're gonna have to disconnect. Most of the mounts are on the tranny. So you're gonna have to disconnect most of the mounts and do that. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video, clear some stuff up. Another thing I wanted to make very clear is this. If you don't take off this lever, you can't disconnect the tranny from the engine. This has to come off to do that, all right? Another thing is when you're done, and you have to pop the throw bearing into the pressure plate to engage it. So you're gonna flip it upside down like this. I'm not gonna do it for you because mine's already popped in, but you're gonna push it that way. That way you're pushing the throw bearing into the pressure plate. You're gonna hear a loud click. When you hear that click, you're good to go. Don't do that until everything is already tight. If you try to do that and the engine still has a gap, you're gonna have a problem. Make sure everything's tight before you do that. That's the last step. So I just want to make that really clear. There wasn't really a lot of videos that show it. Also, there's a spacer on the OEM flywheel that sometimes, I think for the Fidanza flywheel, you have to change it over to the new single mass. I didn't have to do that because I don't have a Fidanza. I have a chromoly, I think it's called, single mass flywheel, so I don't have to do that. There's a spacer. I don't really think that spacer is all that important, but there's a space for it on the Fidanza flywheel, so make sure you do that. But yeah, aside from that, everything else should be pretty self-explanatory. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me down below. I will have the engine back in probably later today. Like I said before, I don't know when this is gonna be up. It's either gonna be before or after the clutch install video, so you guys will see it when it goes up. Thanks for watching. Like I said before, if you guys have any questions, ask me down below. You guys feel free to ask me questions on my Instagram as well. Right there, I actually did open up a page just for my car. It's slump_boosted on Instagram, so go ahead and follow that as well. This is my main. Slump_boosted is just a car. So yeah, yeah, like I said before, any questions, hit me down below. I will let you guys know. It's not that hard. It's really not. It's just don't try to do it the easy way, which is really the hard way. Do it the right way, get it done, and yeah. But yeah, thanks for watching. Slump Brandon out.